The government of Kenya is keen on the development of social economic infrastructure to support the realization of the Big Four agenda and Vision 2030. The ambitious infrastructure projects are aimed at opening up the country for business and bolster productivity, particularly in the agricultural, manufacturing and the service industry, as this would bolster employment opportunities. Part of these critical infrastructure projects include the ongoing 27-kilometer expressway linking Nairobi's Uhuru Kenyatta International Airport and Nairobi's Westlands. Upon completion, the expressway will exponentially reduce travel times within Nairobi and thus help the country save man-hours, which is being lost in the traffic jams on a daily basis. The Lake Victoria Port Modernization Project to increase cargo handling capacity of the port and to increase Kenya's bilateral and multilateral trading within the region. The expansion of healthcare facilities to facilitate fruition of the country's universal healthcare coverage under the Big Four agenda. By speeding up movement of people and goods, the government is aiming to promote trading through reduction of travel times and costs. Very good morning to you, and thank you so much for joining us. This is the People's Court, and this morning we are going to have the conversation looking at President Uhuru Kenyatta's legacy. We did look at some of the things that President Uhuru Kenyatta highlighted yesterday during the Mashuja's Day celebration, and we will continue with that conversation, but we shall look specifically at the infrastructural development agenda that President Uhuru Kenyatta has been able to achieve and is continuing to achieve, and some of the things that perhaps he could do better in terms of achieving, looking at the limited time that President Uhuru Kenyatta has left before the final days of his second and last term as the President of Kenya. My name is Miriam Ogutu, and on the panel this morning I do have Samuel Tawish, a journalist from Nairobi. Tawish, a very good morning.
Good morning to you, Miriam Ogutu. Good morning to my colleague, panelist Javan Karanja, and Sharon Gitonga, and all our viewers watching this program.
All right, and we do have indeed Javan Karanja, who has joined us all the way from Nanyuki this morning. Javan, good morning.
Thank you very much, Miriam. Indeed, it's a very good morning from these sides of Kenya. And good morning to our viewers and my fellow panelists, Tawish and Sharon Gitonga. Always a pleasure being on Punchline Africa Television.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome, and nice to have you. And we do have Sharon Gitonga, also a journalist from Nairobi. Sharon, good morning.
A very good morning to Miriam, back at the headquarters. My colleague panelists Samuel Tawish and Javan Karanja, and to all our viewers watching us across the continent. And it's a pleasure to be part of the morning show, People's Court. Good morning.
Okay, so we know that infrastructure is one of the key drivers of President Uhuru Kenyatta's Big Four agenda, and that's why President Uhuru Kenyatta has been very intentional in how he carries out the infrastructural development, not just here in Nairobi or the major towns and cities, but indeed across the country, as we have seen in the recent past. And yesterday, President Uhuru disclosed that his administration has tarmacked about 7,991 kilometers of new roads, with an additional 4,800 kilometers under construction. Some of the roads are connected regions that have been considered marginalized for decades. He cited a 582-kilometer road dubbed Mau Mau Road, the longest road since independence, which is under construction in honor of Mau Mau fighters. And the president, quoting him, this is what he said: "This will be the single longest road constructed in Kenya since independence. The roads runs through Meru County from Kieni to Mara, through Embu County from Kairuri to Irangi, through Tharaka Nithi County from Kibugwa to Itugururu, and in central Kenya it runs through Mutithi to Giagwachi, and from Kimbibi to Mugomo." I know Javan Karanja just laughing at me how I'm pronouncing these names, but our president said that this is longer than the Nairobi-Mombasa highway by 140 kilometers, and it follows the war path taken by Mau Mau liberations as they fought the colonizers. The president said, Samuel Tawish, the significance of such infrastructural development outside of the, of course, historical factors attached to it.
Thank you once more, Miriam. I think you must have noticed President Uhuru Kenyatta, ever since he came into power in 2013 to date, he's been so much keen on expanding the infrastructure in the country, especially the road network. And I think this is very, very commendable. And the reason why President Uhuru Kenyatta is so much inspired in making sure that we have, proper infrastructure in the country. One is that people can move from one place to another with easiness. For example, even the farmers, because if the farmers can produce, then they cannot be in a position to make this produce get to the market in time because of the poor road network and connectivity. Miriam, I don't think really it encourages farmers even to continue doing farming. So in one aspect, I think it is more of making sure that we are opening up the country, that people can move freely and so easily to various destinations of this country. That is one. Second, Miriam, of course, you have highlighted the issue of the honor, or the reason as to why the honor with which the president has given, if we are to give the example of the Mau Mau road connectivity, the one which I think begins from Kenol, if I'm not very wrong, it goes all the way to Makutano and spreads to all those areas that you have really mentioned. Personally, I was actually traveling along that route when I was going to cover the Mashinya celebrations in Kirinyaga County. I can tell you, Miriam, it is so magnificent. It is something that, much as it's not even done yet because it's still underway. But I can tell you, once that road is complete, it's going to be one of the magnificent roads we have in the country. You talk of the express highway from JKIA all the way from Machakos County, that is in Mlolongo, all the way to, of course, is it Rironi, if I'm not very wrong, in Kiambu County, passing through Nairobi County. 27-kilometer road. And in itself, Miriam, this is also something that is magnificent because the president, as he was speaking yesterday, he did mention that this is one of the best that we have in African continent as we speak today, the expressway. And so if you are to mention about the infrastructure that the president has done and those others that he intends to do, because he's given a hint that probably after this is done, it's going to extend up to the Rift Valley region. So generally, I think the president is opening up the country to make it easy for people to move around the country and not just move with a lot of easiness, and more so also there's an aspect of tourism, Miriam, because when the tourists think of coming to Kenya, they land into JKIA. How do they get to their various destinations in the country? They want to go to Masai Mara, they want to get to Serengeti, they want to go to Elementaita, they want to go into these other, their destinations, that the tourist sites. They will need a proper road network to be able to get from JKIA or any airport to those places. So I think this is a very big boost in terms of the economy, Miriam.
Okay, all right, thank you. And you were there yesterday to cover the live events of Mashujaa Day there in Kirinyaga County that took place in Wanguru Stadium. And I saw the name of that stadium was Wanguru. Is it International Stadium? International seems to have found a new meaning here in the country.
Not really a new meaning. Miriam, I can tell you for sure I was there. In the counties I've gone, say, for example, Mombasa, we've been to Machakos covering national celebrations in Machakos County. That is Kenyatta Stadium. I've been to Kisumu, the stadium in Mamboleo. I've been to these other places, even in Kakamega. And I can tell you for sure, the stadium, the Wanguru International Stadium in Kirinyaga County in Mwea, is one of its own, Miriam. This is not an exaggeration. Miriam, it's one of its own. It's so magnificent.
Right.
It has been well done, and I think it deserves those status. The
International Stadium. Oh, very well. So you were there. Before I get into Javan and Sharon, we know for a long time the leadership of Mount Kenya region, especially those supporting Deputy President William Ruto, have been, castigating President Uhuru Kenyatta that he has been concentrating developmental projects in other areas and he has neglected his background. Was that what you saw yesterday?
Miriam, I can tell you, these are people who are just selfish. If you go to central Kenya, Javan Karanja is here. Sharon Gitonga are here. And these are people who really come from that region, and they'll be able to tell you authoritatively. I mean, they'll be able to back up what I'm trying to say, Miriam. The president has done so much for the people of Central Kenya. The president has not neglected the people of Central Kenya, because when the president speaks up, let alone even the issue of the road connectivity. I mean, if you go to Central Kenya today, you'll find so many new roads have been constructed, especially during President Uhuru's tenure. He's done so much in terms of infrastructure in that particular region, and he continues to do the same. The president, for example, has also done improved the tea sector, the coffee sector. You go to Kirinyaga today as we speak, there's that construction of the Tiba Dam that is ongoing. It is going to make more people get into the irrigation grid. More people are going to get engaged into farming. You remember Mwea is, of course, is well known for rice farming. And those fields need a lot of water. And that's why you see there's also that concentration in terms of having such kind of developmental projects taking place. For what purpose is Uhuru Kenyatta doing this if it's not for the people of Central Kenya? It is so ironical, it is so hypocritical and selfish of these leaders to he has ignored his people, when we all know and we can quite see what the president has been able to do for the people of Mount Kenya and generally to the entire country. You go to almost every part of this country and you can almost feel what the president has done in terms of transformation of people's lives. Miriam, I submit.
Okay, thank you so much, Jeevan Karanja. This road, 582 kilometers in total, that is meant to cut through, the roads that were used by the Mau Mau fighters, and this road is in honor of the Mau Mau fighters, of course, a very integral part of our history as a country that led to our independence. What is the significance of this road, especially in that region?
Yeah, thank you very much, Miriam, for that good question. And I am quite in agreement, 100% with what my friend Tawish have said. These roads, Miriam, will open up these areas, especially Mount Kenya region where this Mau Mau road is touching. One, these areas are agricultural areas. Therefore, at the end of the day, they will be able, the farmers in this area will be able to boost their agriculture. They will be able to have their products getting into markets in the right time. And on that very same note, Miriam, President Uhuru Kenyatta has done a good number of markets across Mount Kenya region. When you go to Kiambu, Kikuyu Market, Githurai Market, when you go to Karatina, Shaka, all these markets have been done by President Uhuru Kenyatta, and they will be meaningless if we had poor road connectivity. Therefore, they go hand in hand. And I see roads and infrastructure development, they boost all other sectors of economy. Because when we talk of good health care, we cannot achieve that if we don't have good roads heading to this hospital. We cannot talk of food security or agricultural or industrialization if we don't talk of roads and railway and ports. Therefore, at the end of the day, this infrastructure development that President Uhuru Kenyatta is doing now, in the next 5 years, in the next 4 years, people will realize what they mean, because they will boost, they will amplify other sectors of economy, and we will see magnificent growth in our country. Therefore, I agree, these roads at the end of the day, they will transform the livelihoods of people, not only in this Mount Kenya region, but across the country. And I would like to disagree with those leaders, especially those who support the deputy president, who have been saying that the president has neglected this place. They need to come and visit these places. They need to come on the ground and see what President Uhuru Kenyatta has done. Like yesterday, now you were talking about the Wanguru International Stadium. These things will boost the local talents, the football in these areas. And in this Mount Kenya region, we are not known to produce good players when it comes to football and other field games. But I think in the near future, we'll have people concentrating on these regions because of these great infrastructures that President Uhuru Kenyatta is bringing on board. Therefore, at the end of the day, we need to congratulate President Uhuru Kenyatta, and we need.
Okay, we seem to have suffered a bit of a technical hitch there from Jeevan Karanja's side. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yes, I had that. Yeah, and also we need to encourage those the presidential aspirants who are who are aiming to succeed President Uhuru Kenyatta, they need first of all to guarantee ourselves and all Kenyans that they work on the foundation that President Uhuru Kenyatta has laid. The project that will be left incomplete, that they first work on that so that we can have a uniform growth in the country rather than having a new regime coming in power and neglecting the project that was started by their predecessors. Therefore, we need to have that kind of system. Therefore, infrastructure, Miriam, is a reality. When you go to all parts of this country, even in my village, we have a tarmac road done by President Uhuru Kenyatta. We have electricity, water. Therefore, at the end of the day, Miriam, even we reduce the rural-urban migration because people can be able to do farming, even in this local area. They be able to have electricity and open up other businesses that need that kind of power and everything else. Therefore, I agree President Uhuru Kenyatta has done a lot, and he need also, as he completes his legacy, as he files and packs to go home in 2022, he need to consolidate those projects maybe that are in progress, that are almost to be done, to make sure that before he vacates office, those projects are complete.
Okay, very well. Thank you so much. Now, Sharon, this road will be the longest ever to be built in this country, and apart from that, it will connect other areas in the country that have been marginalized in areas, infrastructure, and otherwise, and so it will open up these other parts of the country. When history will be written, people, Kenyans, will be looking back a few years from now and looking at what President Uhuru Kenyatta was able to do. Do you think infrastructure is one of the key things that President Kenyatta shall be remembered as having changed the lives of Kenyans or being part of the larger scope of his legacy?
Thank you very much, Miriam, for that question. And indeed, I can, say with no shadow of doubt that the president's legacy is quite secure and, very much secure. Even as we look at infrastructure, there's so many things that he's been able to accomplish during his tenure, and infrastructure being one of the greatest thing that I think long when it's all said and done, people are going to remember, and even in the books of history. When I look at the Mau Mau Road, for me, it's quite significant. And coming, the fact that it's actually in central Kenya and, snaking through different counties. When you talk about Mount Kenya, you cannot, ignore agriculture in one way or another. It's, one of the greatest component and agrees that, keeps the wheels of the farmers of Mount Kenya, turning. So for me, this is quite a major boost. And when it comes to timeliness, when we have roads, it's actually going to ensure that farmers are able to, reap maximum agricultural content and ease in when it comes to farm produce to industries and markets. And when you notice that you have, good roads, it's going to ensure that there's quite some, timeliness when it comes to delivery of not just, unperishable but perishable goods, including miraa from one of the counties that I've been, from one of the counties that I happen to come from. So even in terms of produce, you realize there's going to be more produce, because this is going to encourage farmers if we are able to move goods easily to the market, so we are able to produce more. Even when it comes to the economy, this is going to be quite a major boost when you talk about economy. And I think Tawish also talked about tourism. In one way or another, when we have efficient roads, you do not ignore the fact that it's going to also boost tourism to the country. So for me, it's a very good move, and I have no doubt that the president's legacy is very secure.
Okay, thank you so much. And speaking about some tangible results on what infrastructural development can bring to a place, there is a story on page 14 of the Standard newspaper. Lamu Port drives growth of real estate deals in once sleepy town. They're saying here, they're giving an example of an investor who went and built houses there. And right now, the houses that he's built, they're not even complete. And already he has tenants who have taken up the space basis there. So that tells you after the port was built and still the rest of the berths are continuing to be completed. President Uhuru Kenyatta, I think, launched, was it two earlier this year, the ones that were complete. Already it is booming with some activities, economic activities, and they're saying in 2014 an acre of land in Hindi was about 600,000 Kenya shillings, but today it fetches an average of 4 million Kenya shillings, and that is according to TOPS Investment Holdings manager Fabrian Mugo. And in Mukowe, the new county government administrative headquarters, an acre of land some years back was 250,000, and that's why so many people are able to acquire land in the coastal region, especially in Lamu County. And today, at least you part with 2.4 million, depending on how close it is to the newly tarmacked township roads. Now, the Kenyan Urban Roads Authority has also invested 1 billion Kenya shillings to develop a 15-kilometer township road linking the Lamu to Garsen Road. So you see, these are very tangible results. You can see when a place is has infrastructural development, what it can bring and what that means to a region. So what would you speak to this, Samuel Tawish?
Indeed, it is quite noticeable that the infrastructural development in the country has been able to spur economic growth in different sectors of our economy. Because again, like you've highlighted the Lamu case, we've been to Mombasa severally. You can quite see how the road network has revolutionized those particular towns. Even if you are to give an example of the standard gauge railway from Nairobi all the way to Mombasa, look onto those towns, the Mali, the Athi River, and others. Tito Ande and others. I mean, those terminals you've seen, they've been awakened. People are doing businesses in those areas simply because of the standard gauge railway. And now, of course, with the expansion of these roads, it makes it so easy even for people to do businesses along those particular roads. Miriam, I'm very confident that if we can continue with this pace, if President Uhuru Kenyatta's successor can proceed with this pace and with this legacy of ensuring that we open up our country, then I can quite tell you that people will not even be crying about white-collar jobs. People will not be asking whether they will knock into someone's office to get a job. You can put up a business and your business will thrive. You can do farming and you will be quite guaranteed that your produce will get into the market at the right time, Miriam. These are some of the things I think the conversation that we need to continually have and encourage, because people feel like for you to create job opportunities, the government needs to come out and advertise that today we are hiring people. That is the only way an ordinary Kenyan or African understands what job creation is. But if you're opening up roads like those ones, if you're opening up infrastructure like the standard gauge railways and towns being built, and so many of other things that the president has really done, in itself, it is going to open up other areas of economy, and it will be absorbing the people who do not have jobs and who will not necessarily need to go and seek white-collar jobs. So I think when you look into how the infrastructure is impacting other sectors of our economy, like you will say of fuel, Miriam, when you talk about how fuel prices affect, or how the fuel cost affects other sectors of our economy, it is just like you will talk of the roads. I mean, Javan Karanja was talking about how you can, maybe a sick person can access hospital. Yes, you have built a very nice hospital, but if you do not have a good road network to take the patient from their homes to those places where they are going to get these, these services, then it becomes more of a nightmare, Miriam. So there is a way all these things are interconnected. And that is, I think, why the president, you see, when he's doing his things, he makes sure that he's touching on almost every area of our economy, so that by the end of the day, all these sectors of economy can grow together and our economy as a country can really grow. So that is why you see in Mombasa today, I mean, there's a lot that is happening in Mombasa. You talk of the Dongo Kundu, you talk of all those road networks. Miriam, we have been there with you and some of our panelists here. We've seen what the president has been able to do. That town has really changed. I've been to Kisumu. I've seen how that town has changed. The road from, say, for example, Kisumu, all the way to Kakamega. It has made it so easy and people can spend little time really to get to Kakamega or vice versa. What else can you talk of President Uhuru Kenyatta's legacy? How best could the president have done in as far as making sure that he improves the economy, if not opening the infrastructure and more so the road connectivity? Miriam, I think this is very, very, very encouraging from our president.
All right, and of course, the building of the port has made there to be a demand of rental houses, as I've said there earlier, in the Hindi area, and that has grown after workers were deployed to the port, workers from across the country, I think, and also there's been a boom in real estate development. Also, this has been attributed to improved security in the area, so not just people migrating and coming there and building this economy, but also security has also been boosted, and in that effect, plans are afoot by the Lamu Port Southern Sudan Ethiopian Transport, that is LAPSSET Authority, to construct a 350 million Kenya shillings desalination plant in Lamu's mainland area of Mokowe and Hindi by next year to enhance water supply in the country. In the county, according to authorities managing director Maina Kiondo, construction of the desalination plant in Lamu is expected to supply at least 3,000 cubic meters of water daily. Desalination, of course, is getting the seawater and treating it so that it's suitable for human consumption and for usage in the households. Don't you think this is something that could be used to even address the issue of lack of water in places like Turkana? I mean, we have a whole sea, Apo, that we can use to better our water supply. Sharon Gitonga.
Thank you very much for that question. And I love how, Lamu has lately been restructured because, presently it was known to be a hub of terrorists, but right now it's, now known to be an investment hub. And I think the president has actually really done so much to ensure that, the mindset that was there. I personally would not at any point be interested to ever visit Lamu, looking at the previous proceedings that were there when you talk about terrorists. But right now, looking at it being, having been revolutionized, and right now we're talking of it being an investment hub, I think it's something to really celebrate. And I think one of the things that the president has been doing, if you're keen, is where you talk about, you can give a man a fish and you feed him. When you feed him, you can actually give a man a fish and feed him for a day. But when you teach a man how to fish, you can actually feed him for a lifetime. So he's actually presented opportunities for us, even as the youth and, the public at large, so that we don't keep on complaining of white collar jobs when we have opportunities that we can actually tap from these. When you talk about roads, that it goes without saying that it's going to encourage urbanization, that in the long run is going to really boost economic growth and even trade, even between different communities. So I think there's so much that we can actually tap from what the president has been doing, not to wait, for him to, he's given us, a platform that we can actually tap from, not to wait until now we also want to, be spoon fed. And when you talk about Turkana, I think now it's also high time that not just a sea, but also if we can actually start, exploiting oil that is just sitting underground. I don't think it will be of any essence if it continues to sit underground, where we actually, when we are in a season that we're actually suffering, where all eyes are on fuel, the cost of fuel that has actually gone so high. But then this also, begs the question, that boils down to the leaders. I think the governor of Turkana has really let down the people of Turkana at large. I understand he maybe gets, I think, 120 billion every financial year. Then where does the money go to? So there's also the question of, leaders and incompetence. And I think it should serve as a wake-up call even to everyone and the people of Turkana at large, to the leaders that they're going to bring on board. Thank you.
Okay. Jevan Karanja, as we conclude.
Yeah, thank you very much, Miriam. And I agree that the legacy of President Uhuru Kenyatta is something that will have a good place in our history, because he has really set the bar up there, and he has really set a manual where other presidents will come and read from, because he has really done quite a lot in transforming this country in terms of infrastructure and in terms of ensuring that every Kenyan has a reason to feel like they are people who are in a country and a country that really cares for them. Therefore, at the end of the day, we need also, as we go to 2022 general election, we need also to ensure, even at county levels, we go for those leaders who have a visionary, who are visionary like President Uhuru Kenyatta. We go for those leaders who are corrupt-free, leaders of integrity, leaders who are honest, and leaders who can take this country to the next level, even at our county levels, even at ward levels. Therefore, we need to have an all incorporated kind of system where all leaders will be leaders who are who are development centered, so that we can have a uniform growth across all corners of this country. And that is why I feel President Uhuru Kenyatta had a very good agenda of ensuring that we settle this issue of marginalization. We bring the issue of equitable distribution of resources and shared prosperity, so that all Kenyans, no one should be left, should feel left behind. And that is why they came up with BBI, though it didn't see the light of the day. But President Uhuru Kenyatta was really determined to ensure that all corners of this country, all Kenyans have a reason, they have a feeling of entitlement, and nobody should feel neglected. Therefore, those goes to legacy. That credit goes to the legacy of President Uhuru Kenyatta, because he really tried much to ensure that. Therefore, in future, we need a president who will come on board and be courageous enough to ensure that he brings legislations that will see all corners of this country getting development. So we avoid this issue of every budget having some equalization fund going to some areas that we can really work, we can have a way of ensuring that they're at par with other developed regions. But all said and done, President Uhuru Kenyatta has done a lot, not only in Mount Kenya region, but also more in the areas that were perceived to be opposition stronghold. Therefore, these are uniform growth in all parts of our country, and we wish him well as he completes the remaining parts of his legacy. Thank you.
Very well. And the latest, the president has said the government has also extended affordable housing under the Big Four agenda to the military, adding that he will be breaking ground for the first project later this year. President Uhuru Kenyatta on Monday, the 18th, inspected the ongoing construction of the 8.5 billion Kenya shillings Thiba Dam, as well as 2.6 billion Kenya shillings Mwea Irrigation Scheme expansion project, all in Kirinyaga County. That was before yesterday's Mashujaa Day celebrations. And the government is implementing the Mwea Irrigation Scheme expansion projects at 2.6 billion Kenya shillings, an initiative that seeks to raise the area under rice cultivation from the current 10,000 acres to 35,000 acres by February next year. So if you keep doing things like this, hata si tutakuwa tu food secure. Very well. And of course, President Uhuru Kenyatta has reiterated that the government will continue building infrastructure countrywide. Thank you so much for your time this morning, Jevan Karanja, Samuel Tawish, and of course, Sharon Gitonga. This has been the People's Court. I'll be back here later with more news from the continent of Africa, and I see you, Biafrans. You have so much to say. We shall have that conversation later on at 3 p.m. East African time, so make time then. Until then, thank you so much for watching. My name is Miriam Ogutu. Bye-bye for now. The government of Kenya is keen on the development of social economic infrastructure to support the realization of the Big Four agenda and Vision 2030. The ambitious infrastructure projects are aimed at opening up the country for business and bolster productivity, particularly in the agricultural, manufacturing and the service industry, as this would bolster employment opportunities. Part of these critical infrastructure projects include the ongoing 27-kilometer expressway linking Nairobi's Jomo Kenyatta International Airport and Nairobi's Westlands. Upon completion, the expressway will exponentially reduce travel times within Nairobi and thus help the country save man-hours, which is being lost in the traffic jams on a daily basis. The Lake Victoria Port Modernization Project to increase cargo handling capacity of the port and to increase Kenya's bilateral and multilateral trading within the region. The expansion of healthcare facilities to facilitate fruition of the country's universal healthcare coverage under the Big Four agenda. By speeding up movement of people and goods, the government is aiming to promote trading through reduction of travel times and costs.
Katika hakikisho lake la kukuza utengenezaji na uzalishaji wa bidhaa humu nchini, Rais Uhuru Kenyatta amezindua miradi kadhaa ya utengenezaji ambayo inaambatana na mojawapo ya ajenda zake 4 kuu katika serikali yake. Miradi michanganyiko ya utengenezaji iliyozinduliwa na Rais Kenyatta inaegemea moja kwa moja sekta ndogo ya usindikaji wa mazao ya kilimo, viwanda vya dawa, viwanda vya nguo na ngozi, uundaji wa magari, uzalishaji wa vyuma, sekta ya habari na teknolojia, pamoja na viwanda vya mafuta, madini na gesi. Miongoni mwa miradi muhimu ya utengenezaji ambayo Rais Uhuru Kenyatta amezindua hivi karibuni na ambayo inakusudia kuchangia kwa kiasi kikubwa katika kuunda kazi ni pamoja na kiwanda cha utengenezaji wa silaha nyepesi chenye thamani ya shilingi bilioni 4 za Kenya katika gatuzi dogo la Ruiru. Kiwanda hicho kinakadiriwa kuwa na uwezo wa uzalishaji wa bunduki 12,000 huku 60% ya malighafi yake yakizalishwa kutoka soko la humu nchini. Mnamo Aprili mwaka huu, Rais Kenyatta alizindua kituo cha teknolojia ya nano na utengenezaji wa semiconductor katika chuo kikuu cha Dedan Kimathi. Kulingana na wafanyikazi wa viwanda hivyo, teknolojia hiyo iliyozinduliwa na Rais itaongezeka maradufu miaka michache ijayo, kwani mahitaji ya utafiti kupitia teknolojia yanaendelea kukua kwa kasi sana humu nchini.
This is going to be the future for us to be able to now make our own motherboards, and from making our own motherboards to making our own television sets, to making our own mobile telephones. These are all new opportunities that are all going to be created from this seemingly very small but very critical foundation towards our manufacturing agenda for our republic.
Hali kadhalika, Rais Kenyatta mnamo mwezi wa Mei mwaka huu alifungua rasmi kituo cha ujenzi wa meli na ukarabati mjini Kisumu. Kituo hicho ambacho kina yadi 2 katika mji wa Kisumu na Mombasa kinatarajiwa kuongeza ujenzi wa meli mpya na ukarabati wa meli zilizopo ili kukabiliana na mahitaji ya usafirishaji wa maji katika maeneo ya maziwa makuu. Kituo hicho pia kinatarajiwa kubuni moja kwa moja nafasi za kazi kwa watu wa miji hiyo miwili. Ni wazi kuwa ushirikiano wa umma na sekta binafsi humu nchini unabakia kuwa muhimu ili kuhakikisha kuwa Kenya inafikia malengo yake ya ukuaji na utengenezaji kama ilivyokadiriwa katika ajenda 4 kuu za Rais Uhuru Kenyatta. Wakenya wanapaswa kuendelea kuunga mkono miradi kama hii, kwani itakuza ukuaji bora wa uchumi na kijamii.